The year-end process for payment of claim is a process that can be completed in roughly 10 minutes. The first step in the year-end process for payment of claim is to ensure that your software has been renewed for the 2013 year. This can be done by logging into our website at paymatesoftware.com. In the top right-hand corner, you can enter your login by clicking on the login button, which will take you to the login page. Once you have logged into your account information will be displayed, most importantly being your contact, telephone, and email address. After you process the renewal of the software for the 2013 year, the email address that is on file will be automatically sent an email notification with a copy of the invoice so that you may put it in your records. That's also where your renewal information and download details and keys will be sent. To renew the software, click on the Renew button next to the product that you want to renew, in this case, payment of claim. You will then be brought to a small questionnaire. Completion of this questionnaire is required, and is so we can better provide you services in the future. Once you have completed the questionnaire, you can click on Continue. The next screen would show you your company information as well as the cost, taxes, and total for the software in which you are renewing. You'd also be able to see the modules for the application that you are renewing. If you prefer to send a check, you can do so by clicking the Download Order Form to fill out the paper-based form and send that in, filling it out with the information from this screen. Keep in mind that checks take time to process, so we also have to receive them before we can renew your software. So check processing can take anywhere from a few days. We now click Renew to proceed. The next screen just shows a confirmation of what we were seeing on the previous screen. At this point in time, we can just verify again that the address information which we are mailing to or having shipments done to are correct. The next screen you are brought to is the payment ordering screen. The next screen that we are brought to is the payment processing screen. Please note that we only accept Visa or MasterCards, and here you would enter your credit card name for the cardholder name as well as the credit card number and expiry date. Upon entry of this information, you would click Process Transaction, which would take you to the Process Order screen. You have now renewed your software for the following year. Once you have renewed the software for the following year, you can then return to your product screen and go to the download icon for your software. Here you will notice that under your current downloads, it will say the name of your product, and this will read 2013 Payment of Claim, Canadian, English, or French, January 2013 tax tables. At the time of this recording, the 2013 tax tables and version was not yet released, hence why you see 2012 listed. But after you have renewed, if those are available, then that will actually say 2013. To download the software, you simply click on Download, and the download icon will either display, depending on what operating system or system you're running. Depends on how the display will come. If you're using Firefox, it will simply download the application to your Downloads folder. If you're using Internet Explorer, you will either get a pop-up dialog or a warning message at the bottom of the screen, in which case I would recommend changing this to say Save As, so you can actually control where the file is being saved. It is recommended when you're saving the file that you save it to a location easy to access and recognizable. Directly on your C drive or on your desktop are prime examples of locations to save the application. Please note the name of the file, pmwcan.exe. The location where you save this file should not have an existing pmwcan.exe file already. If it does, please right click on that file and delete it before downloading the software to that location. This ensures that when you download it, you actually download a new copy of the product and not simply you don't accidentally just cancel the download because you told it not to replace the file. So delete the file just to ensure that you are getting the most current and up-to-date version. For installation of the updates, please refer to the installation documentation available on our website. That is the first step in doing the year-end processing for the PayMate Acclaim software. The next step in processing your PayMate Acclaim software is to log into each of your companies. If you have more than one, you have to log in each time separately. And under the Utilities menu, create a backup. When you create a backup, you should put these in a common folder, maybe name the folder year-end, and record the location of where the backups are all going to go. This is just a security feature to make sure that if you make a mistake or if you close the payroll before you actually finish off the payroll for the current year and you accidentally upgrade it, then you have the opportunity that you can always backtrack. Once you have done the payrolls for every pay period for the current calendar year, we can then proceed through the year-end process. The first thing you should do before starting your year-end process is check your payroll group cycles. This is most important for weekly or bi-weekly payrolls. If you are monthly or semi-monthly, you do not need to worry about this. For those that are weekly or bi-weekly, essentially what you are checking for is looking at your calendar and going to the end and seeing if you can add one more payroll to the payroll cycle that you already have. In this case, I'm already on a 27 payroll year. My last payroll being paid December 31st, so my payroll calendar is accurate. If I had 27 payrolls here and that payroll was in January, then most likely 27 was residual from last year's closing, and I should change this to 26 so that that last payroll becomes the first payroll of 2013 instead. If you need an extra payroll period for the current calendar year, you can change it from 26 to 27 if you find, looking at your calendar, that there is still one more pay period available for this year. Key signs to watch out for is if your payroll period pay date for that potential last pay period were to land on January 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, there's always the possibility that that will actually become a December pay date instead of the January pay date. This is because most companies are closed on January 1st, and if January 1st ends up on a Sunday, companies may be closed on the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or if it's on the Monday, same thing, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And a lot of companies will end up processing that payroll before that long weekend, and therefore landing on December 31st, and therefore being part of the December 2012 tax tables instead of the 2013 tax tables. So check your pay dates. If you were to add if you're on 26 or 52 payrolls and you were theoretically to add another payroll to the cycle, check what day that would end up being paid and see if that would actually end up being paid beforehand and therefore in December. And if so, then you actually need to change your payroll to 53 or 27 cycles and do that payroll this year instead of next year. Once we have verified our payroll frequency for our organization and the calendar that we have, we can then proceed to make sure that there is no unposted payroll in the system. This is done simply by going to Process Payroll, going to the Select Pay Period, clicking on the drop-down list of the payroll groups that are in the Select Pay Period screen, and making sure that there are no X's in the payroll groups and that there is no pay period that is grayed out, either in the sense that there's payroll been started but not completed for that group. If the pay period has an X in it, that means that there is payroll currently being processed for that group, so you are required to either post that payroll or delete it. Once we have verified that information, we are now prepared to close the year, so we can go in Close Year. If you've closed the year before, you simply type close again. The system will reclose the year. The system then verifies and just tells you what I've already told you. Make sure you check your payroll groups, make sure you have no unposted payrolls. The system's then going to show you any payroll categories that have a reset definition or value to them, more for information purposes. Again, because I've already closed the year before, the system's asked me to overwrite the next year. If you've not closed the year before, this is likely the first screen you're going to see. Here you have the option of skipping the backup. If you made the backup previously, as I already recommended, you can skip this step. If you have not, do not skip this step. Carry forward and terminate employees. If you have a high turnover and you do not expect these employees to return, you would keep this box unchecked. If you have a relatively low turnover and a lot of the employees that leave actually have a tendency of coming back, checking the box saves you from having to re-add the employees in the following year or years. So use this at your discretion. Again, if you can do it, and then if you decide after you close the year that you actually wanted it unchecked, you didn't want to carry it over, you can reclose the year and then change your preference. Do not reclose a year though once you've done a payroll in 2013. Because I chose to do the backup, it's asking me where I want to make the backup to. I'm going to cancel that step. And then the system comes to the final step, which is to close the year, and you simply type in the words close 2012 to close the payroll calendar year. The year-end process, again, is very quick, so it's going to go through quickly and process the year-end closing. And this just takes a second. Good time to get a coffee. Once the year-end is closed, you'll get a message saying that it's ready to go. And when we click on OK to that, the system will load the company select screen. Here we need to make sure now we choose the 2013 year and log into our company for the 2013 calendar year. We can then proceed to payroll groups, and again, for anybody that's weekly or bi-weekly, you must check your payroll group, check the pay frequency, and if you were on 27 payrolls last year, you are going to be 26 this year. Mathematical impossibility to have two 27s in a row or two 53s in a row. And then if you were on 26 last year, the system will default you to 26 this year. So check your payroll calendar for this year to see if you can add a 27th or a 53rd payroll for the current calendar year. Again, keeping an eye on January 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pay dates, respectively, based because of the reasons I already mentioned. Then the next step is to go to your employees menu. And on here, you simply have to click on the Net Claim button and click OK and type in update for all employees. The system will automatically apply caps lock. Oh, you need the dashes. So update dash for dash all dash employees, exactly as it's typed, and then click hold the update. And that's going to update the employees' basic claim amounts based on the grid on the left. Now, after you've done a few payrolls, you may decide mid to late January it's time to process your T4s. So we have to go back to our company select screen. And on that company select screen, you must change your date of year to 2012 for your company to do the T4s for your company in that year. You would then proceed to the Forms menu. We go to T4 and select the option to create your T4 records. The creation of T4 records is really no work on your part. It will just ask you for what do you want to create, which business number, and submission number. If you've not sent these to the government yet, it will be number 1. You click OK, and the system will proceed to create your T4s. If you had done this before, it will ask you to overwrite. If you've not done it this before, then you just click OK, or it would not show you that screen. Once the T4s are created, you can edit the supplementaries, which are the employee copy. You are required to load the summary, and in box 82, fill out the remittances that you've already paid to the government. The amount that you've paid should be retrieved from your accounting system, where you would have recorded how much money you've actually paid to the government, because the payment of claim simply tells you what you owe. It does not track the amounts you've actually paid. So because I tell you you owe $3,000 doesn't mean you've actually paid $3,000. You might have paid more than that or less than that. So once you've keyed in your remittances, you can then proceed down the T4 menu and go to Print. The print dialog menu option will appear. Here you can choose to print the supplementaries, and you can print copies to send to the government, the copies to give to the employees, the copies for the employer yourselves, or the instructions. Here you can choose to print them on blank sheets of paper, which the software will actually print the image of the T4 for you, as you're about to see. So there's the instructions, because that's what I chose. Or you can use the pre-printed laser forms. These are the pre-printed forms sent to you by the government. If you do not get the documents directly from the government, if you're simply logging into their website to print them and download them, don't bother. Okay? Don't bother going to the government website to download them. Print them right from the software. This will save you the time, effort, and resources of trying to worry about lining fields up and making sure everything lines up pretty. When you print them right from the software, the data is already there and the image is already there and it's already lined up for you. So save yourself some time. And unless you have the physical forms from the government, don't just use the pre-printed forms from the software. You can also print the summary record, so your company summary, again for printing for the company's copy or the electronic filing as necessary. The final step in your processing would be to go into your T4 option and go to magnetic media filing. This is the electronic filing on the government website. Here the system is going to produce an XML file for you. This is a very quick and easy process. Once again, you choose your business number, ISO 8859 encoding. You choose the location where you want the file to go. And the system automatically assigns it a name. You would simply, at this point, click on the button to create. The system would tell you any errors. So for example, I have an employee in the system that I did not assign the country for, so I would just go to their profile and update their country. And then create again. Note that if you have to make changes, there are two places to make them. One, you can make them on the employee T4 supplementaries, where you can open up their supplementary information, select the employee from the list, and update their information. So for example, I can update their country and their province here. Okay. And now I would be able to recreate their reports. Probably have to reprint their reports as well. The other location is you could do it directly on the employee level, where you can come to employees and create it directly here. Note that if you make the change to the employee's personal profile, their actual profile information, if you make the change there, you must recreate the T4s, because those T4s are created with the information as it was at the time they were created. So if you update it on their actual record, yes, this is a good idea to do as well, but if you do this, you must recreate the T4s, because it won't automatically push that information up. Once that information is created, you can then log into the government website at efile.cra.gc.ca. You would have a username and password provided to you by the government, and at that point you'd be able to upload the file. That concludes the year-end processing training for the Payment Acclaim software. Have a wonderful 2013 season.